Can you share your journey into leadership and what pivotal moment shaped your approach to everything, life, business?
Yeah, so, well, first off, welcome again, everybody, to Old National. I'm happy to have everybody here. It is, as Macy said, it's a long time coming to invite both chambers to come to Old National, so welcome. So I guess my journey, I wouldn't say that it is one that that I carved for myself. I was kind of forced into leadership. In banking, there was never a point in my banking career where I said I wanted to be this or I wanted to be that. When I came out of school, it was 2007. I wanted to go into nonprofit work, and my father was the executive director of the Hmong Association, and so I wanted to get a job there. And he said, "No money, go find a job." And so my friend worked at Associated Bank at the time, and he said, "Why don't you come to Madison, party with us, and be a teller?" And that's how I got into banking. So from there, my journey was really, I didn't have one to say that I wanted to be this, that, or the other. However, I had people that saw that I worked hard, I challenged myself, I did the hard things, and they moved me along. So I never applied to be a manager. I never applied to any really positions. It was someone that said, "Hey, we want you to take this." My first branch manager position, when I was in my 20s, I was that guy that hated roots, right? I didn't want to be. I thought if I went into manager, I needed to put down roots, start a family, and become an adult. And so I went out, every year I'm an outdoor person. So I went out to Colorado twice a year, snowboarded, hiked. And one year I get this was before our cell phones now, right? This is a flip phone, right? So I get down to where cell service was, and I got a message from my manager. I'm like, she knows I'm on vacation. Why is she calling? So I just went back up in the mountains because you could pay $5 and take a shower. That's why I came into Estes Park. And then I came back down. I missed two messages, one from my district manager and my regional. So I better listen to this. And he said, "Just want to let you know, by the time you get back from your vacation, you're going to be the branch manager on the east side of Madison." And that's how I got into management. I never was one to say that I wanted to it. So my journey to now at Old National was really, it's going to come to the lessons that Tony's going to ask me about, but was really working hard at what you do, have a passion for it, and people will recognize it. So as I'm part of the foundation now, things have been asked of me from our executive leadership team. It was never one that I looked to do it. It was one that someone said, "Hey, you have the qualities to do this. We want you to do it. Can you do it?" And it's more of, you need to do it. So that's how my kind of leadership journey has come to it. The other thing that I will also say when it comes to leadership too as well is that I'm happy we're here for AAPI month, because we have to give back. And as someone that is Hmong, and my parents gave they gave their life to the Hmong community here in the state of Wisconsin and abroad. But there was a time where I went to a similar event like this in Madison. We had a chamber mixer, and I looked at it, and the storm is coming, so I'll try to make it quick. There was an ethnic chamber mixer, and I went, "There's no Asian chamber mixer here, or there's no Asian chamber, and there's no Hmong chamber." And so how I discovered the Hmong chamber was that amazing thing called Google. I just went Hmong chamber, and then next thing you know, I met at the time with Minza, and she said, "Hey, you're doing a lot. Do you want to join the board?" And at this point, I've never joined a board at all. And she's like, "You just have a passion for it." And that's how I got onto board participation with the chamber. So it was I know that even though I could not speak the language clearly, I knew that I had to give back in a way that was specific to my skill set. because it just pulls. Like, for all the Hmong people here, it's that song, Hmong, Chishi, Lu Hmong. That one that always resonates in your mind of we have to give back.
Awesome. So, Chimeng is such a busy guy. You guys have no idea how hard it is to get a hold of him because he's always on the road, working at different meetings and stuff like that. He's involved heavily in the community. What initiatives or changes have you championed, Chimeng, that you believe made a lasting difference?
So this was one that I did not prepare for. So let's see. I would say, I don't think it was anything specific to any initiatives. However, I will say that if this conversation is more about how others can learn from what I've done, I would say challenge the status quo when needed, but do it in a professional manner. That is how you're going to get in front of the right people to create political capital, to say, you know what, whenever there is an initiative, they'll come and say, hey, Chimeng, we see you're doing great things, would you want to be a part of this? And so as this past year, being part of what we call our CEO Council, I never thought that I could be able to do it, but it's those times of saying, you know what, being part of the foundation, those are things that would say, like, you're doing a great job, you're challenging the status quo, you're creating a good brand for yourself, let's have you lead this, or let's have you do research on it and participate on it. Now, internally, with what I've just done this past year, more things will come, but certainly the impact will, when it comes to initiatives, it's very tough. You want people to know what you have done, but at the same time, you have to realize that recognition is not going to be part of things that will make impact. And so you can only go home to your family and hopefully your wife goes, good job. And that's pretty much, if they go, I don't care, that's okay. But you just know that anything down the road, if it's making impact in communities, that you were part of it, it feels good to just know that.
That's awesome. No, my wife knows I do a good job when I'm not home. So as long as I'm out making money, that's all she does. But last question, I don't want to keep it too long. I'm Chinese, just in case you guys are wondering, but I can't speak Chinese fluently. I know Maggie Dobbs here can speak Chinese better than I can. Chinese chamber intern right here, so she's like more fluent in Chinese than I am. She doesn't know that I know it, but I know everything, Maggie. I know everything.
That is true.
Yeah. That is true. Chimeng, last question. If you could speak any language fluently, what language would you want to learn or speak, and why?
I would say the appreciation for my elders now has been more apparent as I get older. So even though I can translate very well whenever my grandparents talk to me, I wish I could speak it back to them. So I would say Hmong. Now, from a business perspective, I wish I knew Spanish. But to be able to communicate with family members at their level, I would love to be able to take the time to learn Hmong. Now, my parents say, well, if you want to learn Hmong, just go back to Laos, live there for a couple of weeks, you'll learn. And that's tough in itself. But, as you get older, maybe it is that, you get to a certain age where you realize time is limited. And then you start realizing that your elders, their time is very limited. You want to learn more, you want to get closer to them, and you have this barrier. I would say that Hmong, to be able to at least communicate, to know that you care for them and you love them, and to learn their stories. Because I was joking around before, right? For our generation, we're 50 years here in the United States for Hmong people. My parents tell stories of the Vietnam War, going over the Mekong River, getting onto bombers to be able to come over to the United States. And here I am telling Olivia, there was one day your father was at the Wisconsin Badgers game where they beat Ohio State. That's my story to my generation, the next generation. And so to be able to learn and capture those stories, to be able to pass on to Olivia, would be great, but it's very tough when the language you don't get the concept of the language. So there's a long answer to your question, but if there's a challenge to all of you is that, if it is their native language that you should learn, challenge yourself to learn.
Watch out.
大家好，你好。
谢谢。